We all.
Hey guys.
Oh, hang on. They can't see you, Deb.
Oh.
Let me press that button.
Wow.
There we go.
Trying to shut me out already.
Shutting you out already.
Nice work, Mr. C.
There we go.
Nice.
There we go.
Hey guys, nice to be back again. I actually feel like these Wednesdays come around so quickly.
They do.
They certainly do.
They do.
All right.
But they're a highlight of our week, right?
100%. We love it.
We love catching up with all of you. So it's really good to have everyone here with us tonight and, be able to catch up with you all, share what's going on in our lives, talk a little bit about cruising and cruise news and different things. We've got a couple of things we want to discuss with you tonight. So we'll get into it. Let's start with some hellos.
Yeah,
so we've got Patrick is in the chat.
Nice to see you back again.
And we've got Rob and Ali is in the chat as well.
Evening.
Good evening, good evening. Good to see you guys. And then we've also got Kaz here. Hello,
Good
Kaz.
evening. Nice to see you back.
And yeah, good to see you back. Who else have we got? We've got Pete from the Cruise Craze fam is here as well.
Good evening, Pete.
And also, look at this. Who's this? Oh, we've got Amy. We've got both of them. Hang on. You guys, normally at least one of you is on a treadmill in a gym at this time on a Wednesday night. So what's going on here? What's going on?
Unless Amy's on the treadmill.
Could be. Could be. But,
potentially.
But, yeah, let's have a look-see. I'm just...
Oh, what are you doing, Mr. Z?
I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I don't know either.
I feel like... Is there a technical issue here? No, we're all good. We are all good. All right. Who else have we got? We have Noni. My apologies, everyone. We've got Rowan and Noni are on board. Hello, hello.
Good evening, guys.
Oh, Amy is saying we are glitching. So there we go. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I thought we may have had a glitch there for a minute. Ron is here as well.
Hey,
G'day,
Ron. Nice to see you back again.
What's with the purple crowns? Yeah, don't know. Maybe we were glitching for a moment there. Hopefully it's all come back on good now. Our internet connection is showing strong, so we should be good.
Let us know if there's any issues, though. That would be great.
Yes. Not sure. There's another report that we're glitching.
Oh,
we don't normally glitch.
No.
Amy says that the Cruise Craze fam are on the couch tonight, so we're getting watched on the big screen.
Nice. Well, maybe.
Well,
you're presuming.
I'm presuming. I often get photos from Amy of her sitting on the lounge on a Friday night watching our videos. We've got Mark Edwards as well. G'day, Mark.
G'day, Mark.
Veronica is here. And
Nathan B.
Yeah. Got C&K Karzuni is here. Give me 2 secs because I'm going to message our family and tell them get off the internet.
That's what the issue is, you reckon?
Yeah, it could be.
I don't actually think there's many people home tonight. So it may not be the issue. Funnily enough, though, at my work this week, that we have literally had massive internet issues all week. So whether there's a provider issue.
Okay, well, there we go. No, I have done that now. Sound is okay, but video keeps stopping and starting. Yeah, okay, that's a bit weird. Not sure what's going on there. I do apologize, guys.
Please let us know if it keeps doing it, because obviously we can't see that on our end.
Yeah, on our end, it is. Well, do we still have dial-up? Shush, go away, Rob. Not sure what's going on. Let me replace the cable. Deb, keep talking to people. Okay. I'll walk away.
I'm going to just talk to people.
Okay, look, yeah, not sure what's going on. Sorry, guys. We're showing on our end a good internet connection, so I'm really, really confused at the moment. Oh, no. I just saw there.
What?
It went crazy.
Oh, the joys of modern technology.
Sorry, guys. We are going to work this out. Do apologize. We're going to try and get ourselves up and running a bit quicker as soon as we can. In the meantime, We have Michael and Darlene
Hey,
watching.
Mike. Hey,
G'day,
Darlene.
guys. Good to see you. Glad that you are joining us tonight.
Oh, yeah, I wish somebody would bring me home pizza.
Amy says you brought the internet issues home from work. Yes, you did.
Clearly.
Who else we got? So video theme is 2026. Are we doing a group blogger cruise? Please, oh please. Can't say anything yet, but no, not 2026. More Winnie.
Wait, pronounce that.
Yeah, okay. Morwin.
All right,
Mini.
please just tell us your name.
Morwina Mini. Says hello as well. Crazy Tea Lady say hello. Wendy says hello.
Hey guys.
Katrina says hello. Let's get into it. And JJ is here as well from the Sunny Coast. Okie dokie. All right. Deb, yes. Let's pick up on that point that Veronica raises. 2026 is part of the theme that I put on tonight. There's two big things we want to talk about that are rather exciting. Excuse me. And hopefully the live stream does stop glitching soon. I will do a full, like a re-upload of this afterwards. We are recording it here too. But anyway, Deb.
Yes, Matt.
2026.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we want to discuss. You've got some ideas on what we need to do for 2026. Like this year, we did a bit at the beginning of the year. There's not really anything now. We've got a couple of small, like weekend, Thursday, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday night type stuff. But where should we go? I want to know. You've had some ideas. We've heard that people in the chat that join us every week are also keen to see us maybe go back to Asia or something like that again. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
Oh, look, to be honest, I think I've messaged Matt, like when we've not been together this week, multiple times, just saying I'm craving a longer cruise. Like I really think that we need to do a 2 to 3 week cruise. We have looked at a couple of options. One is, was it a Singapore, Bali?
Yeah, there's one that goes like Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Bali kind of. Yep.
Which really interests me. I mean, to be honest, and I think it's maybe that I've been seeing some videos that we've been putting together over the last couple of days, and there's one coming very, very soon about us going to Hawaii. I'm like, oh, I really want to do the Trans-Pacific again. And the only thing that kind of stops me in a way is that we've done this. We've done all those destinations, but it was the length of the cruise and really being able to stop with such high pressure jobs, just being able to actually really stop for a period of time. So we are really behind on booking for 2026 at the moment.
Yeah, we are. And
so if any of you are on any longer cruises and have some recommendations, more than happy for you to drop those in the comments for us.
Yeah, look, I think, and it's interesting because we are also looking at a few short cruises. One of the ones we are targeting is trying to get onto Discovery Princess while that's here next season, to get a feel for that.
Yeah.
Because that hasn't been here before, and there's been some updates to it, and little tweaks and things. Look, it could be, it's obviously just there's a vibe that kind of feels fresher than what Crown did.
Let me see. What is
sorry, we'll just get in. We got an answer. Mwenia Mini is
Hi, Chris.
G'day, Chris.
I will never pull that from that name.
Noni says their next cruise is 5 nights on Anthem to Hobart in March 2026.
Nice. Yeah, so we're going on Anthem again in October.
Yes, we are.
We've already been on Anthem out of Singapore.
Out of Singapore, which absolutely loved Anthem. Quantum class ship, but the entertainment on there was great.
Yeah.
And which is a good point because Paul Thompson just says they're just off an 18-day cruise to Singapore in November.
Where does that go from? Do you know?
Yeah. Where are you? Yeah.
Or Paul might tell us.
On an 18-day cruise to Singapore. Yeah. Curious to know what ship are you getting on for that?
That's an option.
Like something like that.
Maybe
would be
we've
nice.
missed that one.
Yeah. Although November's normally a tough one. I will get in. Rob's just dropped in here a comment. Deb and Matt, so us, Cruise Grace fam, and Rob and Al are all on the same New Year's cruise next year in 2026. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We will share some more details of that in the near future. But there is something bigger and more exciting with more content creators coming, and we will tell you about that in the near future. Amy and I are working slowly on some things in the background to announce that in the near future. Stay tuned. Noni says, or a cruiser goes around Australia. I can't remember who or when it was. Something to look at. Princess often do those. I was going to
say, a lot of them are Princess.
Yeah, so that would be an interesting one. Veronica Jones, we're doing Adventure After Dry Dock in 2027, but want to try and find a cruise on Adventure before 2027 to see the ship prior to dry dock. That would be cool. We are trying to also coordinate to get on Encounter when she gets back from dry dock at the end of March next year or mid-March next year. So to bring a bit of an update on that, we probably won't be able to get up to Singapore, just the timing in the year to then come back with her, but you never know. We're considering it. Frankie says hello. Hey, she finally made it. Hope you enjoyed the cruise on the weekend.
Yes, that's right.
Your first cruise, I think, for memory, Frankie. So hopefully you enjoyed it and had an absolute ball.
Yeah, 100% hope that you're ready to book your next one.
Yeah. Well, she has. Off in February 2026, a 14-day cruise to Singapore. So I'm guessing that's going to be on Encounter, Frankie. Let us know in the comments. Yeah, that could be another one. Going
February, probably not great again.
February's tight, but maybe. Linda says hello as well.
Hey, Linda.
Yes, we will be. There's actually a couple of cruises, Linda, and we will make sure we get all the details out so people will have plenty of time to book.
If you want to put up with us.
Yeah, Amy says we do have to get to work on that, and yes, we do. We apologize. We were kind of hoping we would be able to make some announcements this month. Hopefully, we've still got 2 weeks left. Amy, let's set the deadline to by the end of this month. Let's get the details out to everyone. Celia says she just booked her first RCI on Voyage of the Seas, Singapore to Brisbane. 1st of December this year. Excellent.
Very cool.
Very cool. We are actually on the cruise.
When she gets off, we get on.
Yeah, so we're getting on for the first 3-nighter on the 13th of December. 13th of December.
Yeah. So, yeah, we will literally get on that one.
Yeah.
As you get off.
Paul mentions, they're doing the leaving from Sydney for the that round Australia on Crown Princess. So they're going up from Melbourne the night before. Always go to your port of departure the night before, at the very least.
100%.
Is the video still freezing? Yeah, it is. Look at that.
I'm just throwing faces in there.
What are you doing?
If they're freezing, I may as well just make great faces.
It looks good here.
Yeah, sorry guys. I no idea how to fix that one.
Yeah, sorry. I've tried. Joanna says hello to the team. Hello to all of us. Michael says Robin out of travel is good. Starting chemo again. We hope your chemo goes well. Stay positive, mate, and try and get 100% cruising.
With you.
We know you love it, and a bit of sea air always helps. Cruising with Frankie says she had a ball.
Oh, yay! That's always really great to hear for a first-time cruiser that they loved it.
Very true. And our first cruise coming up, September 3-day comedy cruise for Chris going to Great Barrier Reef.
So this is your first cruise, Chris. That's very cool.
Excellent.
Was Chris? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So
very, very cool. I cannot wait to hear what you think.
And we've got cheap cruise alert. 14 nights, Fiji, finishes in Sydney on NCL about 2,100. Ooh, departs in August. Yes, I saw this. So this is the other thing. We're actually thinking next year. This is another thought we have. Tell us, do you want us to be your guinea pigs? We're kind of thinking, this is one option we discussed. Maybe we identify a window of time
we did
next year where we're going to take a week or two's leave and just wait. And kind of, where there might be a couple of cruise options and then wait until really close to the time and see if we do get a cheap price.
It's so hit and miss, though. Yeah. We're finding that a lot of the cruises, the earlier book, the better the price these days. It used to be the other way around. But we're seeing some of these little gems.
What I'm seeing, though, is it's probably the cruise lines that aren't that common to Australia. So, and yes, NCL kind of fleets in and fleets out, but it's not really, it hasn't got a strong presence in Australia yet. So, I do wonder if that's kind of why, compared to, say, like Carnival or Royal, we're not really seeing, huge drops as we get closer anymore. Listeners would love to be on the same cruise as all, but as you know, I can only cruise during March, April due to work. We will have some good news for you, Linda, I promise.
2027.
Yep.
Yes.
And Celia says, yes, 13th of December, that's when we arrive in Brisbane.
Ah, nice. We may see you at the terminal.
Yeah, we may do.
Depends what time you get off, of course.
All righty. So, guys, we really do want to know what you think, I'm watching this live stream on your phone, Dale, and I'm just like, holy moly, that's terrible.
Yeah, it is. I'm so sorry.
I
have no idea how to fix that.
I don't know either. Everything's looking good at this end, so I'm not actually really sure, but we will re-upload this.
Apologies.
Really, really sorry, guys. Don't know what what's happening quite here tonight. But let's have a chat. G'day, Jason. Good to see you here. Yeah, there's lots of comments about the lag, so very, very sorry, guys. Wendy says we'll be doing around Australia September, also Anthem end of October into November on Anthem. See you guys on board. Yes, looking forward to that. And then Anthem to New Zealand in February, and then Discovery Princess in March back to Eden. Wow, you've got a busy next year.
Look at you, Wendy.
That's awesome. Actually, look, we're getting lots of comments. This is something we're getting lots of comments that the audio is fine.
Okay, so it's
which is good.
The videos.
So the video's just glitchy for whatever reason. Everything's showing good on there, and so maybe there's a YouTube glitch tonight. I don't know. But here's a question for you. I have been toying also with turning these into a podcast, like getting the audio from these each week and potentially putting them so you could listen to it on Spotify if you do miss it. So everyone that's here in the live tonight, great. Thank you for joining us. We do love that. But for those that are watching this later on, drop a comment. Would you listen to this if this was in podcast format so you could be in your car, or do you prefer to see us? Maybe they do.
Probably not.
All right. People are commenting that they are enjoying.
I like your face. Oh. I like to see this face, but.
Well, apparently Joanna the Sushi thinks the frozen faces are funny. So, yeah. There's been a few of those comments. So, Sean says he's not doing from Dana on the Cruise. There's no live stream on there and tonight. So, all right. Anyway, let's get back to the question. We would love to know. I want to do a cruise for about 7 days. I'll be near Tokyo Disneyland. Yeah. Give us some suggestions. We really want to know, and we want to start looking some things down. Where do you want to see us cruise, please? What do you want to know about? Because this is why we do it. We do these adventures.
I mean, we do it because we want to visit different ports ourselves. Like, these are holidays for us. Like, this is literally us just showing you our holidays
and our experiences.
But very, very keen to see what people want to watch as well. All right. I think there's just a bunch of messages that you probably need to just click.
Yeah, look, I think there's plenty there. Alison just jumped in. You're talking about freezing. Yes, Deb agreed. My feet are bloody freezing too. Then I realized you were pulling a funny face and about freezing on the screen. There we go.
My feet are not cold.
A couple of different comments about podcasting. Yes, please. Would love it for when they're in the middle of the ocean or working. Noni makes a good point, or a point that same content is live. Probably wouldn't listen to it on a podcast, but if it was in addition,
Cool.
yeah, well, we will start to. We're starting to tease out how we may do that. So that's a good consideration, Noni. Thank you for that. But please, yes. If there is something you really, have you got a cruise that, or a destination that you're all, really thinking about, but you're like, oh, I wish I knew more first. Let us know, because maybe we can put it into our itinerary and make a bit of a plan to target some spots.
Yeah, because we literally cannot make a decision for 2026 at the moment.
No, we're a bit of analysis paralysis at the moment.
Paralysis. I love that. Yes, we are a bit.
Yeah. All right, Deb. So, there's also some other fun stuff that I've been working on. We've alluded to it before in previous podcasts. Look, I'm already.
You're already moving into
I'm already committed to it. So, we have been talking a lot about our fantasy cruise line thing that Rob and I and Amy have been talking about in the background.
So explain for those that may not have been in the previous chats about what is this fantasy cruise line all about?
Okay, so the fantasy cruise, just really quickly, Veronica, we're actually doing some more deep dives into our Trans-Pacific cruise experience from last year. So keep an eye out for that. And yep, Singapore, good to hear. Thank you.
Make sure that you check out the videos that we have already done.
Yeah,
but really good to know that you want to hear more about those ones.
Yep. So we're currently dropping the Hawaii part of that at the moment. I'm going back and doing that now. The first day, getting there, is tomorrow. It should hopefully drop tomorrow or Friday, and they'll come out over the next few days. But then over the next few weeks and over the next month, we'll do deeper dives into the various locations as well. The fantasy cruise line. So yes, Rob and Amy and I have been having these late night discussions, kind of trying to work out where the state of the Australian cruise industry, where it's at. Is it feasible to have an Australian cruise line? Where would they go? What would the target markets be, and all this sort of thing? We kind of started developing up this idea of, and working on, well, how do you buy a cruise ship, and investigating all these sorts of things. So over the next few weeks, we are going to start looking at, and we teased this the other week, we want to bring you guys along on the journey of actually developing this up. So
if you could build the perfect cruise line,
what
would you add?
If you could build a cruise line, a viable product for the Australian market, so it means it might not necessarily be a product for everyone in the Australian market that's a cruiser, but what would that look like? And so I'm just going to share a screen here. Excuse me. Share that one.
There are so many options.
No, not that one.
This is everything from what your cabins may have in them to what entertainment you see. I actually haven't been part of this conversation with Rob and Amy, so I'm actually making this stuff up. But it's literally building the perfect cruise.
Yeah, trying to build a viable product for the Australian.
Let's just, put this together, and, the plan is that we'll potentially have different guests on different weeks.
Yep.
That can provide knowledge in different aspects. Look, it's endless. We could look at cruise directors, we could look at captains, we could look at social media experts, cabin stewards, whatever it may be. This is the sort of the idea that we're going with, is let's build the perfect cruise line.
Yeah, and look, this is going to be a bit of fun,
it's fun.
We want to hear from you what you think about the viability of such a thing. So what I've done is I've put together, this is what I'm going to show you tonight in this live stream, is a very quick, very rough example of what the how this series of live streams would run discussing this topic. At the moment, I've got it broken down into 12 weeks. What I'm really, really keen to hear about is whether you think 12 weeks is long enough, whether we should maybe try to get it down to about 6 to 8 weeks. Each week would be a particular topic. There would be a survey or a poll, in the lead up to each episode where we would discuss the results.
So this will be like cabins. What do you want in your cabin? Entertainment. What do you want in your entertainment? Is that right?
Yeah, destinations, and that sort of thing. So let's sort of go through this slideshow. And so the first week, and again, this is a really quick, rough draft at the moment, guys. So I've put this together kind of really quick in quick conversation with Rob earlier. The week one, we would kind of launch it, have a bit more of a dive into the concept, and then sort of maybe poll you. And this is some examples here of polling you around what excites you the most about an Australian focused cruise line. Week two, we would then dive into the target market. So do a deep dive into the target market. We would be looking a little bit at financials. So there'd be some viability aspects to this, because we would start to talk about, okay, well, if a cruise ship costs this much, for example, how much are people going to be able to afford? How do we refine that target market? Because again, not every cruise line can be for everyone, but how do we make it a viable product? And, week three, we would then talk a bit more about home ports and itineraries. Week four, what would be the perfect ship size? Week five, we start getting into the cabins and the comforts. Week six, getting into those inclusions versus extras. So do we make it a fully inclusive cruise line, for example? Would it be something where, we actually include in the one upfront price, the Wi-Fi, the drinks, the shore tours, all those sorts of things, or, and trying to drill down what's your number one must-have inclusion as one of the examples of the polls there. Week seven, we could talk about food. Week eight, we could talk about entertainment. Week nine, we'd get into more of the, the on-board activities and those sorts of things. Then we'll start to get into the fun stuff as we get to week 10. So what would we call it? What would this cruise line be? And
that will be interesting.
Maybe, we can start to do some polls in the live stream, take some suggestions from that, then go to a poll before the episode, the following episode the next week. And then, week 11 and 12, we'd start talking about, loyalty programs, and then we'd do a wrap up at week 12. Now, my thoughts are, and I'm keen to really hear from you at the moment, because this is a 12-week program. Is 12 weeks too long? Would you like to see, if we try and maybe bring this back to, maybe 8 weeks?
I think the other thing that we discussed earlier, Matt and I were discussing, is, do we make, the first 15, 20 minutes a catch up? Let's just make, report about anything going on in the cruise industry, what we've done, what we've gone, what we've been on, and then make the second half about this. So, because I don't want to exclude anyone that is not interested in this and just wants more cruise updates. So really keen to hear everyone's thoughts on how we roll this out, pretty much.
Yeah. All
right, do you want to get to some comments? Because I know there's a bunch in here.
Yeah, so guys, we really are keen to get your feedback on this and, understand things like Deb's suggestion. Do we split the episodes up? So sort of the first half of the episode will be our usual catch up and chat and have a bit of a chat about things. And then the second half would go into this. And we have a few comments here. Noni's suggestion of including Wi-Fi, coffee, and soft drinks and coffees, but alcohol must be extra, those sorts of things. Rob's question here, the final question would be, how much do you want to invest in it? And that could be, look, who knows?
Look, some of the people that we potentially are going to try and get as guests, they may have
ideas. But we really, that's another thing. Comment in the chat. Who would you like us to see? And I saw somebody mention like Chris Frame before.
Yeah.
But who else?
100%.
Who else? And not just, I'm really curious, not just cruise content creators, but who are people within the cruise industry, be it Australia or otherwise, that you would like to see, involved in or maybe come in as a guest speaker on one of these episodes?
Yeah, we have some ideas.
But we'd like to hear from you too, because your interest in that will obviously help entice other people to get involved.
100%.
Yeah, so let's see. Dasa says, sounds like we'd need another 12 weeks called Cruisers Anonymous after this program. Yeah, maybe. Thrill says they'd love to see Captain Jack Sparrow as a guest.
I'll try.
We'll see.
Maybe you're just going to don a pirate hat.
I could.
I create him to be.
A couple of comments in there. Pete from Cruise fan, my God, you boys don't sleep much at night. Lots of work going into this. Yes, there certainly has been. Certainly has been indeed. Dasa suggests as well, give away a mini esky per cabin, bucket of beers type concept. Yeah, I mean,
this is all the stuff that we are really, really keen to, to hear when we go into each category.
Yep. Christina says that it's a great idea.
Thanks, Christine.
Katrina says it sounds like an awesome idea as well.
And this is what we need to know, is if people are actually interested in partaking in this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I mean,
it's a bit of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun to do it.
You never know. The cruise lines might actually listen. You never know.
Yes. Yeah, I nearly said something I don't want to say at the moment. Veronica says this is so cool. Well done. Love the idea. Patrick says we need to get Chris Frame on. Christine makes a comment. Friends doing the 40-night Mutiny of the Bounty in August. Yeah, that would be a fun fun cruise to do. So look, guys, definitely. What else have we got? Linda says this is a fun idea. Celia says this is a fun idea. Possibly a guest CEO from one of the cruise lines. That would be a lovely idea. I think that would be really tricky. So
we do have a couple of ideas.
We have it. Yeah. Look,
that we're going to put some feelers out.
We're going to put some feelers out to some people that, until recently were employed in the Australian cruise industry and their offices got closed, and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, that would be cool. Amy says we need to prioritize the other announcement first. Yes, we do, Amy. Let's set the goal next week. Everyone tune in next Wednesday, because we will do the first episode of this.
All right, so the first episode, the announcement.
No. The first episode of the Fantasy Cruise Line next Wednesday, and we'll do the big announcement next Wednesday as well.
The big announcement.
Yep.
We do have something going on in the background.
We do. So let's do both. Next week, tune in, make sure you do, because it will be a massive episode.
Yeah.
All right, so any question? Somebody says Christian Hull survived the Royal Caribbean World Cruise and needs to have a say on this. Yep. That would be a cool one to get on board. Yeah, some really good suggestions. Paul Thompson says, have the ship do a never-ending trip around Australia.
Never-ending.
Let's look, that's one of the things I think.
Get on, get off.
One of the suggestions in there, if I just go back up, was around in week 3, and again, this may change, but looking at home ports on itineraries, and you'll see one of the key points, and this was a conversation point that Amy and Rob and I were having was, let's explore. So we've got Brisbane, we've got Melbourne, we've got Perth, but we've also got, they're exploring underserviced ports. So trying to really get an idea, and you, the viewers, will have a big say in this. Like, there will be some guidelines, because obviously we don't want these each episode going on for hours on end. So Rob and I will, and Amy will, and Al and Pete and Deb will try and be a bit of a brains trust to kind of corral the feedback each week a little bit. But, we will be listening to you on this, and you'll have the opportunity to put some suggestions forward. Veronica says Australian residential cruise. Yes, please. How good would that be?
Yeah, absolutely.
How good will that be?
Oh, I think you need to go back up a little bit. There's a bunch of that you've missed.
There is plenty here. Somebody suggests a previous cruise director. Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, cool.
We will see who we can reach out to. Have the ship. Yes, got that one before. Widen the Murray. Dasta says here. Go up the center. Why not? A hop on, hop off cruise ship would be a cool idea. Yeah, look, and that's the interesting. I was been watching some videos.
What Princess does.
Kind of what Princess does, but I was actually going to say having a mental blank.
Oh dear.
I've frozen.
That's me.
That's a thumbnail. The residential ship. Oh my gosh, having a mental blank. Rob, in the comments, help me out, mate. You know the one I'm talking about. I'm embarrassed. No. No,
I watch lots of different.
Villa V. Villa V, right? So Villa V's kind of that, because people, you buy your right to your cabin, and then if you need to get off and go home for a few months at a time, it's it's all good.
Freezing again.
Yeah, it's doing the freezing again. The Villa V. Whole face.
I'm gonna. Whole face.
So the Villa V, you can, if you need to get off and go home for a couple of months, you can rent out your cabin. So it's kind of is that hop on, hop off idea. Maybe something like that will work. Let's have a look. Let's see. We'll be trolling through this and kind of looking at all your different feedback and in the comments from tonight, and starting to categorize some of that.
Oh, okay. He left.
Your computer's having an issue.
My computer's having an issue.
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. So this is kind of where we're going.
Yeah, we want to start doing more interactive live streams with you guys.
Because you guys are fantastic. It is so great every Wednesday night at the moment when we join you guys. The feedback that you give, the ideas, we're so excited. And that's why we thought that this was probably a really great avenue to take on building this perfect ship. And you never know, the cruise lines might listen.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, I think for a lot of us, we saw recently there was a lot of concern, a lot of displeasure about the Australian cruising industry, what state it's in. There was a lot of complaining going on, but nobody was necessarily offering any solutions either. And we thought, okay, well, if that's the case, we really need to, let's tell the market leaders, the ones that produce for us, what it is they need to do.
I mean, to be honest, I'm such an old romantic. Let's just bring back the Love Boat. The Love Boat.
You going to sing again?
No, not singing. But seriously, they were the best.
Yeah.
Great idea, but this is 2025.
Noni, announcement today? No, sorry, cannot.
Sorry. Next week.
Yeah, next week.
Next week, we promise.
Next week is going to be a massive. We're going to do episode 1 of our Fantasy Cruise series. We're going to kick that off, and we're going to have Rob and Amy on board, and we're going to announce next week, and it's going to be legend. Wait for it, Derry.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, had to
For
put
those that
in.
understand. Matt and I, like, okay, sidebar. I'm just going to go.
You're going to tell us again.
No. Well, yes, but for those that understand How I Met Your Mother, Matt and I both actually have tattoos.
Yeah, we showed
our legs.
We showed the tattoos.
Oh, we did.
We did do that? A couple of about a month ago, back in May, on one of the episodes.
Okay, so old news.
They had those ugly photos of our legs.
Excuse that.
JD says, I like all inclusive, as you know, what you're up for. Yeah, look, we actually kind of agree more and more.
100%.
About that. There was, I like to know what you're paying, I think is the thing. Like I think there needs to be more transparency with how, like, what the onboard charges are going to be. I think I'd be more comfortable with the, like Carnival Cruise Line, and more satisfied with Carnival Cruise Line or P&O back in the day, or even Royal. If, okay, do I buy a drinks package or don't I buy a drinks package? Well, I'd like to know what the costs of the drinks are before I make that decision. And I think they rely a lot on the unknown factor to do that. Yeah. So, but that's fine. Us cruise content creators, us, Rob and Al, Amy, Bag Drop, all the rest, we'll continue to share that information when we're on board, so you have those answers.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Can you just jump into some of these
comments? What do you want? Which one?
I actually really like Scylla's comment. That is so
cool.
Thing
is my phone ringtone. Okay, that's cool.
I love that. Maybe I should change my ringtone.
You could. Or you could change it to a toilet flushing sound, and it could just be, it could still be cruise related, because it's just going to remind you of the Poop Cruise documentary on Netflix at the moment about that Carnival Cruise Line incident.
Gross.
Oh,
No, that's gross.
You prefer the Love Boat theme?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm with you. Let's do that.
Go with the Love Boat theme. Shuri Pool says age-specific cruise. Apparently, I remind people of Barney, and I'm going to say, based on the fact we're talking about How I Met Your Mother, it's Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, the character.
Oh my God. All I saw was the purple dinosaur. Oh, is that okay?
It's Barney Stinson. We were talking about How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, but when I saw that comment, because I saw the purple dinosaur.
Oh dear. Rowan says, no to all inclusive when drinks package is concerned, not right for paying for others to drink if we don't drink. Yes, I hear you on that one. Katrina says, yes, it's hard work, so hard to work out if it's better to get a drinks package or not. Completely agree. I would prefer a brand new ship, but I don't mind an old rickety. Makes the fun about the people, entertainment, and activities. That's a really good point. And I think, it's important to remember, though, that some of these cruise ships, when they go through a dry docking experience, they come out looking pretty schmick on the inside. So,
100%.
Rowan says, no disrespect to parents, but what about a cruise with no children? Gosh, that would be lovely from time to time.
Well, there are those.
Virgin.
Biking? Look, I think it might be.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, there definitely are.
There are some around, but
there is that market.
But again, like, we don't necessarily, not saying that it won't end up being this way, but we don't necessarily want this cruise line to be this fantasy cruise line being $20,000 for 4 nights or 7 nights.
This is true.
I think how do we offer those sorts of things? And I think cruise lines should look at how they can offer these things sometimes as part of their ongoing itinerary. So.
And it might just be that we're parents of 4 children, but it might be 4 times a year that there is an adults only cruise.
Yeah.
It could be that same cruise line, but it is literally 4 times a year it's an adults only. It's an idea.
That's an idea.
100%.
All right. No alcohol drinks package like they had on P&O for those who don't drink alcohol at all. That's just becoming a theme. I've seen a few people make this comment. So anyway, I don't have too much more for this week.
No, I think that there's a lot to come for next week.
Next week is going to be massive. Fancy Cruise Line needs glass shower doors, no curtains. Yes. I must.
Pete, you're just like singing his world.
Now, I actually said this to Rob.
Start him on this,
I actually said this to Rob, and one of the things we may do, maybe we'll expose ourselves a little too much, is we will, again, as I said, we'll put some stipulations around this to make sure we kind of give this a bit of a kickstart. But there will be things like shower doors. If we can do it, we're going to do it, and a few other things like that, because we have our preferences too, right? And what's the point of deciding a cruise line if it's not going to satisfy us?
This is what the polls are going to be all about.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just work through these last few comments.
Curtains suck. Shower doors are way better, definitely.
100%.
Had to go straight to that one. So ranking, let's go back. JJ says they agree with Peter. Noni Rose says no shower curtains is a must. No shower curtains is a must.
No shower. Yeah.
Right,
I was going to say, whoa.
Diane says, working, listening to you guys, what a joy and pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for joining us. Says, no need for a drinks package. If you do deals where 1 year out loading dollars on your card, you get 15 off, 6%, you get 10% off. That's an idea. Linda's in agreement that no alcohol drinks package. And so that way everyone gets discounts no matter what you're purchasing in advance, just load earlier. It kind of makes sense. I mean, there's a cash flow advantage in that for the business. Rob, we might have to note that down and do some modeling. Help the disabled and have an all-inclusive cruise. That's something to look at as well.
100%.
Katrina. Virgin Voyages named the best cruise line 3rd year running last week. Yes, saw that news.
I did see that.
Congratulations to them. Pity that they're not in Australia, and maybe we need to lobby them by in the polling and voting for that next year, get all the Australian cruisers to vote against them if they're in the running again, so that we tank their vote and they get the message that we're unhappy and they need to come back to Australia.
And you know what, guys, this is us just having a bit of fun, but you never know if we get the volume of people on board with this.
Look, this is it.
You never know what cruise lines might actually listen to.
We are small and meek.
Yes, we are.
We are small and meek as a YouTube channel. We are. Amy has a larger reach than us, the Cruise Craze fam. Rob and Al have a much larger reach. Then we've got all the context as well. We had Adrian on board a few weeks ago. We had these guys were at the launch of Carnival Adventure, rebranding of Carnival Adventure with Chris Frame. So there are a lot of Australian cruise content creators that have a very wide reach. So let's,
we just may be the facilitators.
We will work together.
Yeah.
Australian PowerPoints would be a must on an Australian-based cruise line. Totally agree with you there. Rowan says we have to have a washy attendant. See if you can get Lucky from Quantum. He's saying the best. Love Lucky.
100%.
He is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
I do love that on Royal.
Chris Wong would be good to hear from.
Yes.
He is on board and working at the moment though. So he's on his last contract, but I saw he posted a video. I haven't watched it yet. Last night, that's the thumbnail. It's probably clickbait, but it was have I made a mistake? Suggesting.
But we have had conversations with Chris, so we might be able to get him on board.
It would be good to get creators into Clear membership and conference. Totally agree, Rob. You and I have spoken about this before, and we know that Clear branches around the world.
All right, please explain what Clear is.
So Clear is the cruise line Industry Association.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get like a clear R for Australia. You get an extra A because it's like the Australasian, Cruise Line Industry Association Australasia. But then you get it like US, UK, that sort of, so the geographic
So anybody
federation.
can join this?
No, it is for cruise lines and cruise line suppliers and travel agents and those sorts of things. So I think one of the things that Clear Down Under need to do is kind of wake up and realize that there is a large community of content creators out there that can share the news, can advocate for the industry. We saw that when we were, Adrian led the charge, and a lot of us were getting behind it with, some of the stuff around the legislation and regulations last year for the visiting ships, and they're, non-committal because, things were due to expire at the end of December last year. We all got on board with that, and there was some lobbying, picking up the phone to lots of our different contacts and sending emails and, doing surveys, and Adrian had the petition into Parliament. So, we need to get Clear to recognise the Australian cruise content creating community. And as Rob points out, there is a category of membership in the UK specifically for creators, and they even have an award for the best ones at the awards ceremony. It would be a great voice for us to have. We'll put some details together, because I think this is something that we've been talking about, and we would love to probably we need to advocate directly to Clear on this in Australia, but then we also probably need the consumers of the cruise industry, the patrons of the cruise industry in Australia, so you, the guests on board, to advocate to Clear as well, and support the fact that you would love to see us helping cover and being more informed and more up to date and part of the and considered part of the industry. Des says he's part of the association, Cruise Line Inventor Association of Devon Chad. Love it.
That's awesome.
Well, again, I do want to point out here though, this is not just us. This is, whilst we're hosting tonight and we'll be hosting these live streams, this is a group effort. This has come from conversations with Rob and Ali. This has come from conversations with Amy and Pete and the Cruise Craze fan crew as well. So this is a group thing. It's not just us.
No, we're just facilitating.
And this is the fun of cruise. This is the great thing about the Australian cruise content creator community. We're not in competition. No. We are a rising tide, lifting all the ships, lifting all the channels, bringing you great content and unique content. Is Disney coming back at the end of 26, 27? I believe so. Although I do wonder how committed they're going to be moving forward, because obviously they have the new ship launching at the end of this year in Singapore, and it is on a 5-year. It's basically on a 5-year contract. There was a deal done between Disney Cruise Line and the Singapore government to have them home porting there for 5 years.
There you go.
Rowan, we could contact Emma Cruises. She always wanted to do an Australian cruise, and she could also promote her Captain Hudson cat toys as well. Her sales go to Mercy ships. Yeah, look, there are a few people we will probably reach out to.
Yeah.
And first up, we need a fantasy cruise ship mission statement. Al, let's make that the goal, perhaps, of development from and between episode 1 and episode 2, based on the feedback that we generate in that first episode next week. Or we can put that together. We'll work that out. Rob and I will work that out, and we'll update you via our socials between now and the end of the weekend. All right.
Okay.
Let's wrap up.
Wrap up tonight.
Guys, this has been awesome. There's been so many comments tonight. The algorithm has loved it. I do apologize. Don't know what's been going on with the glitching.
No.
We have a...
Sorry for my funny faces. I'm just going to read. Because I imagine they're all freezing in weird spots. So sorry for all of that.
Yeah, Rowan is... sorry, Amy's best buddies with Emma now. Yes, she is. that's a bit of an inside thing. Guys, yeah, we will re-upload this video if it's not good after the live stream, and we've checked all that.
Look at it.
Thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate that you all managed to stick with the live stream, even though there's been some sort of technical gremlin tonight. We will see you all next week. It is going to be a massive, massive episode. See you then.
See you guys.